Hi everyone, in this video I will show you how to color one of the landscapes of my book from Blake app. It's a very good exercise to practice lights and color. As I said, I'm going to use the app Lake Coloring Books. I have two coloring books published. The last one is this, a coloring book of cats and flowers, with 12 beautiful floral illustrations ready for coloring. Check out the description of this video, because if there is a discount code for Lake Premium, I will put it there, because every month they have some discount code, so I will try to update it. And the second book is the Fantasy Worlds one. 12 illustrations as well, but of fantasy landscapes. From classic landscapes to alien worlds, forest, mushrooms worlds, one with a volcano, a collection of varied landscapes. But I'm going to paint this one, with a beautiful castle and a waterfall. And first of all, I'm going to show you my configuration. At the top, you can switch between open and closed lines. This means that color will not escape from the closed areas. And here you can configure several options. I have activated all switches. Okay, so let's start painting. I'm going to paint with lines closed to go faster, but I recommend to paint with lines opened and enjoy to coloring like a real coloring book. And here select the palette that I have created for this book. The palette tool in Lake works very well, because it shows several values of each color. And about the brushes, I'm going to use mainly the watercolor brush, one more time to go faster. But I recommend you to paint with the pencil brush to have a more realistic and enjoyable coloring book experience. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is a very good exercise to practice lights and color, and I will apply here the very basic color theory for landscapes, but that you can use on your own illustrations. Okay, I'm going to start painting the sky with a standard blue. At this point, I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with the sky. I'm not sure whether to make a sunny day or a sunset, so I'm going to try with other blues. Dragging up or down in the palette, you see that I get other values of blue. I will try with a darker blue at the top of the sky, because on a sunny day, normally the upper part of the sky is always darker than the lower part. It's the effect caused by the curvature of the Earth and the brightness of the atmosphere on the horizon. Therefore, on a sunny day, the gradient of the sky goes from a dark at the top to light at the bottom. You can increase the size of the watercolor brush for a smoother effect and play with the pressure of the Apple Pencil. I am still not convinced of the sunny sky, so I'm thinking of making a sunrise. But if you want to create a sunny sky, this is the gradient you should get. For the sunrise sky, I'm going to add some orange and paint with it half of the sky. Increases the brush size for a softer effect. I do recommend painting the sky with a watercolor brush for a softer effect and using the lower left slider for opacity to improve color mixing with blue. Okay, I'm going to add yellow, restore the opacity level if you have changed it, and here the point is to soften the gradient little by little. I'm going to add a lighter yellow. More orange here. If you apply it directly, you see that it contrasts too much, so for better gradient we have to decrease the opacity. And you can see how we are getting a very smooth gradient. Okay, sky finished. In landscape painting, the sky decides the overall tonality of the scene. Therefore, blue and orange will now predominate in this landscape. I am a little confused here, because I didn't realize that the opacity was set to the minimum. It took me a while longer to realize, but that's it. Let's paint the clouds and distant objects with light blue. As I said, I paint with this brush to make it faster for the video, but I enjoy painting with pencil and look at the colors I use. the app becomes much more enjoyable and relaxing. Okay, for the bottom areas, we will use a darker blue. You can take these parallel lines as a reference for the shadows. I added these lines to most of the objects to create the shadow effect. Okay, now we are going to add some yellow to the clouds to represent the touch of the sun. I will try the acrylic brush. Adjust the size of the brush, and I will add just one line of yellow on the border. Prioritize the right side of the clouds because the sun is on that side. On this group of clouds, the sun is just behind, so the light is more in the center. Okay, let's continue painting the more distant objects. We continue with a light blue color. I always fill the area with the base color, and then add the highlights and shadows over it. So fill all the castle with a light blue color. Now, with a darker blue, I'm going to add the shadows, so the lower areas of the castle will be darker. And for the bridge, we will take into account its curvature. Therefore, the left side will be in shadow, and the right side is touched by the sun. With this use of light, we will get the bridge to have volume, so I'm going to add yellow to the right side. And the same concept on the castle. Now I'm going to add the coral color to the roofs. In reality, they should be blue as well, but this adds a touch of color to the background and make the castle stand out a bit more. Now the shadows with a darker red, and once again looking at the hatching lines to add it. And yellow for the illumination. Now the illumination of the arches. The left side ones are touched by the sun, and the right ones are in shadow. So we painted the first ones yellow and the others dark blue. I'm going to retouch some missing areas. And now we will continue through the trees over the mountain. I will paint them in a slightly dark blue. And we add touches of yellow for sunlight. Now we will continue with the mountain wall. Once again, we have to understand the curvature and the irregularities of the surface, and that the sun will reach only the upper part. So we are going to start with the blue as a base color, painting the entire surface. The lower part of a darker blue color for the shade, and I'm going to use this grey color for the base of the illumination, by painting only the areas that stand out. This generates the effect that the light touches only the top area. We are tracing the imaginary light. In this case, this grey is for the ambient light, that does not come from direct sunlight. At this side of the mountain, we have to respect the geometry. The light touches only the right side, and this other side is in shadow. Therefore, we leave it blue. I am going to add more shadows. By holding down the Apple Pencil, you can select the color and use it on the fly. Okay, now the direct sunlight. We will paint only a little of the upper part, and as before, respecting the geometry of the mountain. Okay, and now the other side. We paint in yellow only in the grey areas, and you can start to see the mountain take on volume. Okay, the illumination of the mountain is done. We are going to use the same concept for the rest of the illustration. Direct sunlight will be small yellow highlights. I'm going to add more yellow to the bridge. And now we are going to continue with the clouds. We will use the same color as the other ones. We will not complicate, so select the light blue color and paint them all. Use darker blue for the shadow. And yellow for the sunlight. Remember to paint only a thin line. We took some liberties to give more color to the illustration, because in reality these clouds would probably be totally in shadow, but it looks nicer this way. Okay, we almost finished the background area, only the waterfall remains. We are going to use the same steps as before, a blue color for the base, but in this case I'm just going to add shadow. no direct sunlight, because it represents that it's more introduced in the mountains, so the direct sunlight does not touch the waterfall. We will make the shadow diagonally, so that it has continuity with the shadow of the mountain. Light blue for the top area. And now the background is finished. Let's start with the forest. For the trees farther away we will use dark blue, because they are totally in shadow. We must decide up to which trees the shade reaches. I'm going to paint one more. And for those that are closer, we will use a green color. This generates a sense of depth, so fill the remaining trees with green. Okay, now the shadows of the trees. Select a darker green, and as before, take the horizontal lines as a reference for the shadows. I am going to speed this part up a lot because it's very long, but you can see how I paint the shadow only on the left side of the trees. And now the shadow for the blue ones. I am going to use a darker grey color. And the same concept. Okay, now the next layer of light, with a light green color. And painting on the right side of the trees. I am going to add some green to the trees in the background to give them a touch of color. And the final layer of light, the touches of the sun, as before with the yellow color. But we will leave the lower areas and paint it in yellow, because the sun does not reach there. Okay, trees finished. Now I'm going to paint the grass and the rocks. I am going to use a darker green because it's the lowest area. And for the plants a slightly lighter green. And some dark green to generate volume. For the rocks, I'm going to use dark grey. And for the edge of the river, a light grey color. Okay, there is not much left. Let's go for the river. I'm going to use a medium blue color. And with a darker blue, we are going to generate the reflection. I'm going to add some lines representing the waves, following these black lines. Okay, now I'm going to add some volume to the rocks. Selecting the same color and dragging up in the palette. Same process for the next layer of light, in this case only a thin line. And adding points to generate some texture. And a darker shadow with a dark grey. And we're almost there. Only the finishing touches are left. These circles represent flowers, so you can paint with the colors you want. I choose yellow and red. I am going to add some touches of light to the plants, to give them more volume, only a little touch. At this point we will consider it finished. But we're going to use the spray to add an extra touch, and to improve the gradients and textures. The idea is to add a subtle texture over some surfaces. Try with different colors and sizes of the brush. I like how the texture of the spray looks over the gradients. Select the same colors of the area you want to paint with the spray to generate this effect. The texture adds more warmth to the illustration and a more beautiful mix of light and shadow. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the process and learned a little bit more about basic lighting. There are more illustrations like this one in my Lake book. As I said at the beginning of the video, check out the description because there is always some discount code for the Lake app premium subscription. That will give you access to hundreds of illustrations for coloring. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.